ran a story in light of 2 Tesla crashes that happened recently, 2 fatality crashes, about who owns the data that your car collects, your black box, as it were. And most cars have them these days. Some collect more data than others. But there's one thing that they all have in common, and that's that the car companies aren't really hip to sharing that data with police, traffic investigators, attorneys, car owners. So I guess the way I'm going to lay this out is, and I don't want to just pick on Tesla because I get to do that enough. Tesla refused to turn over data in these 2 fatal crashes to the authorities investigating the crashes. So who is it that owns this data? It's your car. You paid for it, or you're leasing it. Either way, you're technically the owner-operator. Who owns that data? Who should own that data?
What's it say in the user agreement?
I believe the user agreement says that they can collect all this data and turn it over to the third-party authorities, including law enforcement, if deemed necessary, i.e. you're suing them.
Yep.
Right, but does the user agreement say that they might refuse to turn over the data in the event of an accident? And again, this is not, like Russell said, this is not a Tesla thing. But the article starts with there were a couple Tesla crashes, and the police have been asking them for the black box data. And this is not the first time that Tesla's not been absolutely forthcoming with the information. So even though it starts with a Tesla spin, this is not a Tesla rant. I want to make that very clear for the fanboys out there who are just determined that we all hate Tesla. This is not a Tesla rant, because they also give into other car manufacturers that do the same thing. So I just want to make sure that was clear.
During the Toyota sudden acceleration incidents, did they turn over black box data?
I don't think the Prius has black box data.
They do when the airbags go off.
Yeah, they've got to record something.
They do when the airbags go off, but that's it.
Yeah, and, one of the things that's in the article is that it says that when the NTSB reviews a credit, there was something like 7 elements that are required, and in this day and age, that's not enough.
No, because usually the basic things that are recorded are accelerator, pedal position, brake application, seatbelt use, whether the airbag deployed. I don't know if steering is included in that basic data. I think that
deceleration.
Yeah. So those are the basic ones. And again, this is from 2001. I didn't quite catch what you said earlier there, Paul, when I mentioned the 2001 year. But of course, now that cars are more advanced, and they have the radars and cameras that are recording, the things that are expanded to record when a collision occurs. Now it may include camera data that's coming out of your lane departure or lane keep system. So, but unfortunately, the regulations haven't caught up. So, I'm thinking they can get away with it in the sense that the black boxes, the event data recorders that are required, they can turn those over. But all the new stuff, because there's no regulation for it, I guess they can refuse. Because there's no law saying that they have to turn it over.
Right. We go from it seems to me that we go from event recorder to I don't know, system logs, I guess. Because like you said, lane keep assist. Was the car trying to maintain the lane when the car went off the road? Blind spot monitoring. Was the blind spot monitoring trying to warn the driver there was someone in the other lane when they veered into the car next to them? Now we're getting into autonomous vehicles, and there's going to have to, at some point, be a determination, was the car making a specific decision when it did a specific thing?
Right. Automatic emergency braking. Did it apply or not?
Exactly. And now we know that the cars can detect a hand on the steering wheel. Well, that's something that is going to be important.
So, but I want to take a step. Let me just poll the panel. Should you own your data, and should you be able to get that data from the car companies unencrypted to turn over or to use in your own legal cases? Or are the car companies correct in saying this is our data and you can't have it? Paul.
No, if it's your car, you should own the data. I mean, you should also have the right to fix your own car if you want.
Casey.
I agree with Paul.
Mark.
Yes, it should be your data.
Tony.
I believe it should be your data. I don't have any use for it on a day-to-day basis, but I should be able to turn it over to the authorities.
Right.
Patrick. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, if it
No,
can
you had
exonerate
your
you
turn.
from... No, I just want to say, but if it's in your favor, you should be able to share it with whoever you want.
Right.
Right.
It's your data. It's about you ostensibly, or at least your property.
Or the car screwing up, which you can use to help build a case against the car company.
Right. Which
Yeah,
is one reason they don't want to turn it over. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah.
It'd be really interesting if we have these cameras all around the car in the Tesla that are recording, and that is our data. It goes to our storage device, and we can do with it whatever we want. So it'd be nice if they added a lot of this just at the bottom of it in some human-readable form that included the accelerator position, brake position, steering position, whatever other miles per hour or kilometers per hour if you're in another part of the world that uses rational units.
John, did I ask you?
Not yet, and I agree. And I at least for the Prius, because I for the Gen 4 Prius, it is accessible. I did see someone post online a printout from their service center that basically showed them the exact date and timestamp down to the second of when the accelerator was floored, when the brake pedal was fully applied.
I'm just thinking about all those Toyota review cars that I floored.
Yeah, take it to the service center and take it to Paul and have him get the OBD reader and print it out. See how many times.
Right.
I have a feeling that people at Toyota review that stuff live just to laugh at me.
I work a lot in analogies, and it's how I explain things, how I understand things. I have a hard time coming up with a good analogy other than your personal computer. Imagine your personal computer gets hacked, it gets shut down, or whatever, there's a virus or something detected, and then the computer manufacturer says, well, there's no way of knowing what happened because you don't have access to the system logs in your computer. I don't know if that's a very valid. I just I'm trying to think of what other comparable situation is there where you have a manufacturer saying you don't own the system logs of the device that
John
you
Deere.
purchased with your money.
John Deere tractors, yeah.
Yeah. Or if you buy a service in the cloud, there's a lot of stuff they don't give you.
On your point earlier, I like the visualizations that the Green the Only makes when he does his exports from the autopilot, where you can see the steering position, you can see the accelerator or regen, you can see the boxes for what the car thinks it sees, and the video for what it actually sees, and the map.
Right.
So-
Now, having their bounding boxes and stuff, that could be easily deemed proprietary. So I would agree that belongs to the car manufacturer and not to me.
Okay.
But the position I put the steering wheel in and I put the accelerator in, that definitely I think should be accessible to the user.
Well, at the same time, proprietary or not, you need to know if the car thought that the tractor trailer was an overhead sign or if it saw a truck.
I disagree.
Well, I mean, like in Russell's case, where if you're suing the car company for running you under the truck, you need to know if it saw a truck or a sign.
Well, it's at the current level 2, level 3 systems where
I'll
you're
give you
supposed
that.
to be responsible for it, it doesn't. It will make mistakes, and it's your responsibility, not theirs. So.
Yeah. My opinion is there is proprietary in the decisions that are made, the analogs, the algorithms, the thought process, the decision trees, and whatever. That's proprietary, but the final decision should be available.
Right. What did it do? Sure.
This is one of those rare cases where we're actually unanimous. Patrick, maybe with some limits on that data. So I don't know what moral or legal, other than I guess the legal grounds are the car companies don't have to. They're not compelled by law. So the hell with you as an owner.
Right. So the laws are definitely behind the technology.
Right.
Yeah.
And the laws, in my opinion, the
Absolutely.
laws need to be written and rewritten in such a way that it is a blanket statement, rather than saying we need these 7 things plus these 5 additional things because that works in 2020. They need to be a blanket. It needs to be a blanket statement that'll be accurate every year moving forward.
Right. Like
Interesting.
it should cover anything that
Right.
can control the car.
See, I think that covers Casey's boundary box thing, because, I mean, that could be critically important to somebody at some point.
Right.
And Patrick, I'm just curious, the reason you think that's out of bounds is why? Because that's proprietary Tesla technology?
Yeah. So when they're doing all of that, interpreting the sensor data, that's all proprietary software that does that. Now, what matters is what result comes out of that, and
Right.
that's the data that we should have access to, not the why they made that decision. That's
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And you as a user can decide not to use it or not.
I totally agree with you there, Patrick.
My wife has a Tesla and she refuses to use autopilot at all.
I do hope that everybody watching will maybe take a moment and actually think about this stuff. Maybe contact one of your legislators and say, hey, this is important. How about maybe taking some action here? Because I might want this data someday, as opposed to just getting the finger from whatever car company it is that made your vehicle.
Just FUD of, oh my God, these autonomous cars are trying to kill us and we need the data. Don't do that.
No, don't do that. But, like I said, I can't think of a reason why I would need my data right now. That doesn't mean I won't need it in the future. And when that situation occurs, saying the law needs to change then is too late. So even if we can't think of a reason, a valid reason today, we still need to push for regulation because someday we just might need it.
Well, Tony, I can think of. Well, I just thought of one situation where you might want that data.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's say you're buying a used car, and the advertisement has that famous line, "Oh, this is driven by an old lady."
Yes.
Well, you pull the log and say, "Well, this car's been floored once every month."
Oh my God, John, that is why you were elected president. That is a great. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Or if you get a speeding ticket, you could go to court and say, here's a log from my car that says, officer or judge, I was not speeding. The car says I wasn't. So your police officer's trying to scam me.
Yeah, more than one person has gotten out of a speeding ticket because they had a dash cam that showed they were not speeding.
We had the one.
I was just going to say that.
With the Tesla left blinker was blinking on the back of the pickup truck.
Oh yeah, that one.
Perfect
Yeah.
example.
Right. Yeah.
Nice.
I had my turn signal on. I have video proof of it.
Right. It's our data we should have access to.